Attention bobsled riders! You will soon be embarking on a thrilling podcast down the icy slopes of the Matterhorn. So please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the bobsled at all times. Auf Wiedersehen!
Hello, Yodelers! We are the Matterhorn Yodelers. I'm your host today, Japheth, with
Jackie
and
Commander Krennic.
oh, and then we also have
Father Yodeler.
And today, based off of Peter's hint, we're going to be talking about Andor Season 2.
Andor what?
Andor the show.
Oh.
Did any of you watch it?
I did.
Did you all make it through? Our listeners. Did any of our listeners watch it?
I think you're asking us, and I was like, I'm going to do an episode about something I have not watched.
I'm just winging it.
Man, did you see that trash can guy? They're like, trash can guy? Yeah, he was wearing a Mark Twain t-shirt. And you're like, a Mark Twain? We're talking about Star Wars. You're like, whoa, I'm way off with that one. It's like, where were you to begin with? But no, right? We're talking about Star Wars Andor 2. You know, this month of May. It's the whole Star Wars celebration month now because we got to market it.
It's a whole month.
The whole month now. It was just a day, and then it was a week. Now it's a month.
You know,
watch out, 4th of July. We're coming for you.
Well, shouldn't they have spread those episodes out a little bit more rather than giving us 3 every Tuesday?
I don't know. I think with the
way they paced it out, I don't think it would have worked.
I think it worked out just well enough.
Yeah.
I think 12 episodes, if you start like in April, that would have gotten us to July. And you would have been like, what are we watching again? And like, it's just too long. Like, I thought it was well done that way.
It's very like political. And so it's hard to keep track.
It's everybody's favorite part of Star Wars. Senate attendance taking.
Yeah.
Weird ET people. Go home. Yeah, that it's always fun when the Senate scene comes up and I'm like, how can you not make this so boring? Well, how do you not make this look like the C-SPAN, channel?
Yeah.
So we had Andor Season 2. Did anybody, after watching the first episode, going, what happened what happened last season?
Yeah, a little bit.
It was a long time.
Yeah.
It was 2022 when that first came out.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because they show in there, it's like 2022 to 2025. And you're like, boy, you make it sound like we had 4 seasons in there. But like, no, not at all.
But it was a very expensive show to me.
Well, it looks expensive.
Yes.
It looks very expensive.
I mean, if you
Mon Mothma's like costumes were like next level.
I mean, if you transition from Andor Season 2 to Rogue One, it's same quality.
Oh, yeah.
Level.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, it's movie, but more expensive, I would probably.
They said the first 3 episodes cost more than all of the Kenobi series. And I'm all like, well, I watched Kenobi, and it looks like Kenobi was done on a low budget. That's for sure. When all you got is, like, Darth Vader and Obi-Wan fighting, and they're like, you know what we're going to do? We're going to put barrels of oil around you.
It reminded me of some episodes of Lost in Space. It really did.
It's like, boy, you don't got much there. And they're like, we're just going to ride behind a truck. yeah, we're in a truck this episode. Yeah, we're on a rock. Oh, we're in a cave now. That's not very expensive. As opposed to like this where they're having a whole wedding and you're like, golly, it's like a Japanese garden in here.
Yeah.
It's pretty intense. So yeah, it's been 3 years. I felt out of place. I didn't watch the recap.
Oh.
And so did you guys watch the
Yes.
recap?
I did watch the
did
recap.
It help you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, it refreshed them. It gave me the glimpses to go, oh yeah.
But honestly,
You didn't need it, though.
that's what my thought is.
Didn't need it.
I did because I don't know what happened this season. I was watching. I was like, I'm so lost.
It
No, I didn't.
stands on its own. Like they didn't really. They made minor references to it. Like, oh, this is what everything's been leading up to. This, and this. We're just like that was pretty much.
You just need to know the characters. If you knew who the characters were, you were fine. There was nothing.
There are a couple characters where I'm all
referencey.
like, what side are you on? Like when I saw Luthen for the first time, I was like, what side is he on? I remember there was a big thing in the season finale where there was kind of this pass with Cassian and which side is.
Right.
And that's why I was all like, when I got to the wedding on that first episode, I was like, I don't know how to feel about this guy, but he's there with Mon Mothma, so it was okay. So, okay, before we get too much into the details, Jackie, do you recommend this season, and is it complementary to the Star Wars universe?
I think if you're ever watching a Star Wars movie and you go, oh, I wonder what it would be like to live an Empire lifestyle, Andor 2 is a great show to watch. But if you want action pack and like interesting things, you can skip it. It's not necessary to watch to enjoy Star Wars.
You're not going to get those starship battles.
No.
Okay. Yeah.
Like it's just
it's not Star Wars.
it's
There's
not
no stars.
Star Wars. It's like Star Wars but Office.
Star Spies.
The
Star
Office.
Spies.
The Office Star Wars.
So which
without the comedy.
Without Dwight.
Yeah.
There is no comedy
There's
in this.
no comedy.
There's no
Yes.
action. Boy, what are we down to? This is drama. This is drama.
I think the Dwight would be like the general managing Yavin 4. He was just mad all the time.
It's not the Star Wars that you get your kids to watch to get into Star Wars.
No kid will probably stick through
But
this.
it's a good story, Phil.
Correct.
It to lead you to
Yes.
Rogue One, and which is a great story, Phil, to get you to A New Hope, which is Star Wars, literally Star Wars. So I think as you get closer, it gets better.
It's
Yes.
great world building. It's
Yes.
definitely like you get to learn different aspects of the galaxy a little better, about the formation of the rebellion. It made me want more content just about the rebellion.
So there are books. Like
Right.
there's the Rogue One Catalyst book, which goes on about the journey of the person that designs it, which is Gino Urso or something. Jin
Urso.
Yeah.
It's not Jin.
Jin is the girl.
Yeah.
She's the main character of Rogue One.
right.
But there's a book about her and what happened between when she separated from her dad
Right.
to the beginning of the movie, or the beginning of where she's rescued.
Ooh, are we going to get a series about that?
No.
It's just like a teen book. It's not like it wouldn't be any. It's like, yeah, it's like the training of a young girl that doesn't really want to fight but does want to fight, and it won't be that. You don't want that show. Let's not encourage that.
They can rewrite it to be something else.
But the Catalyst gives more of an insight about the designer book, so it builds really well. And I thought this built Cassian and the Rebel Alliance.
Yes.
Because everyone thinks like this is one group, and it's like, no, you had Saw, and Saw was all weird where he's like, I want to smell the chemicals. He's like,
I didn't get
take
that.
your mask off,
Yeah.
join us, and burn the lungs.
I was like, is he dying? Like, what?
So you get the feel of that. Okay, Father Yoder, you recommend it, like,
Do I recommend it
without giving like Mickey bars?
without giving? Again, if you're into Star Wars, I think it fills in storyline. I think it's I like it for the visual of it, the spectacle. They did throw a lot of money at it. It looks like they threw a lot of money at it. There's no, oh, they kind of got chintzy. I didn't ever
No.
feel that on
No
this.
Obi-Wan Kenobi barrels.
So no, I recommend it, and just because it also fills in the story. I mean, if you watch Andor 1, definitely watch Andor 2, because
Right.
it just
Yeah.
fills in that gap between Andor 1 and Rogue One so well.
It does seem like, because as soon as I watched it, it was 12:30 at night, and I'm all like, I gotta watch Rogue One and see how this goes into it, and it just fits so well
Honestly-
into
Excellent.
it.
Honestly, I feel like this season shouldn't have been called Andor. It should have been called Mon Mothma Season 2. Because Because I felt like Andor had a very minor role in like he was there, he was present, but he didn't really do much.
It was the fluid that got
He
everything going.
connected
Andor
to
did
him.
so well they had to call it Andor too.
Oh, I know,
Otherwise,
I
you're starting.
No one's gonna be
I
like, I'm
know.
watching Monmouth
Well,
season
it's
1.
like the Doctor Strange sequel. That really wasn't Doctor Strange.
No, that was what the witch, whatever her name
Scarlet.
is, Scarlet Witch. Yeah. Okay.
But if you're looking for a New Hope, you look elsewhere.
It's tough to get a New Hope. It's a 50-year-old movie.
It's
and
gritty Star Wars.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is.
What-
A
if
lot
you
of
like-
politics.
If you're a
Gritty,
Star Wars
if
fan,
you like
you've
drama,
watched it.
you'll enjoy this. Like
It's not a passive watch.
But
no,
if you're
because you have like, I think you have
There's
like
so
20.
many
You have
characters.
20 scene changes per episode where you're going in between all these characters. I think you fall on like up to 8 characters, so you're jumping all these different scenes.
I learned quickly I could not watch this with my baby awake.
well, it's
Go to
also
bed. Go to bed.
if you're like Mother Yodeler, she watched or was in the room when I watched all of it, except for she walked out at like the last 45 minutes.
You could
with
skip all that.
with no interest in being in the room at all. So
She's like, I watched enough. I don't need to watch anymore.
so it's not for everyone.
Okay, so it's for the Star Wars fans.
yes,
Yeah.
agreed.
Okay.
It is for the Star Wars fan, but I think there's substance in there for people who may not like the fantasy aspect of Star Wars, with space wizards and things. It is a gritty drama. Like, if you like drama, this is a good drama.
I don't know.
For a sci-fi,
You think
Frank, I think
Bridgerton's
so.
better?
Bridgerton's got its own issues.
Oh, I don't know. I've never watched it, but
Yeah, Father Yoder, you want Bridgerton?
It's like, that's a shock.
nope.
No, I've been reading a lot, and one of my hobbies is studying about the American Revolution. And so as I read this stuff and watching Andor, it was like, you see
the
that struggle where
parallels.
you're like, man, it's just chaos, and you don't. It's like day to day. You're like, I don't even know how it's gonna happen. Like, and I feel like they did it justice in showing how hard it is to get something started from nothing. Like, there's enough frustration, but getting that frustration into physical form and in motion to fight it, I thought this show did a really good compliment to showing what it really takes to build a
true
rebellion.
rebellion.
A rebellion or alliance.
It's
It
kinda
shows you
like
there's different people
Survivor.
fighting each other. It is. Not everyone's on the same page, but we have the same
Yeah.
goal: winning money. No,
But it's a matter of trust. Do
Right.
I let them into my alliance or whatever? Can I trust
Well,
this
they're all
person?
sharing information too.
some are.
Some are.
Some
yeah.
are. You got to be, when you're in that intel world, you have to protect your sources, because once it's burned, it exposes you, and like that we get into that.
Oh,
in
yeah.
there.
Yeah.
So okay, so we start off with like episode 1, and this is my brief notes right here. Cassian steals the ship. Really cool ship.
Yeah,
right?
fun intro.
nice.
It was exciting. That
Yeah.
was one of the high
Get
points.
you in there,
It
right?
got you in there.
Got the hook. Like, all right, cool, and it shows the clumsiness of like, I don't know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I think
That
he
was
did
so
better
fun.
than I would have.
I love how he's got that like, well, you go forward, you go like this, and he goes backwards, and he's like, oh, of course, it's the other way. You know?
What's that movie that they do?
He flips the sticker around.
The sticker around. What's that movie? I forget what that movie that is.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, as soon as I said, it, I was like, oh yeah, it's like that one movie that we can't name right now. All right, then we got Bix, who was Cassian's girlfriend. Yeah.
Oh, Biggs.
Bi-
Oh, yeah.
Is it Biggs or Bix?
I thought it was Bix.
Is
Yeah,
it? Okay.
I think it's Bix. And-
Biggs is a rebel pilot.
yeah, he is the robot.
That's Skywalker's friend, isn't
Yeah.
it? That's
Yeah.
right.
She's on that farm trying to hide from the Imperials. You know, they're not documented right there.
Right.
And so they're on the run. And then you have Mon Mothma. She's getting her party ready for her daughter's wedding. And all these people are coming in. And so there's kind of this like different sources of the rebels working. You got Luthen and there, and then you start off with Krennic. Is it Commander Krennic?
I think he's commander at this point.
Commander at this point, because I know it's like position. He was always positioning for a higher rank. But he is, for those who don't remember, he's the person that's in charge with the Death Star.
He's in charge of the construction of the Death Star.
And he's thinking, like, if I do such a good job, I will be able to command it, which we learn later on. Rogue One,
Grand
Moff Tarkin, he snakes it from him. So yeah, and as we get Krennic, and he has that meeting with the Imperials where they're like, we need Kelkite, to coat our reactors. Everything's about like some substance for the Death Star, and
not midichlorians.
Not midichlorians.
Right.
Not banthus. But
not dilithium crystal.
Yeah, and it's Calcite. It's all about getting that power source, but that sets the whole tone of like, we need this resource and it's on this planet, and we will pretty much end up destroying this planet.
Yeah, they said like basically it'll destroy the planet when they start mining.
But we need this, and that's kind of the theme that Disney has built around the Death Star's construction and what the Empire is doing in between Episode 3 and Episode 4. It's just like, we're going in and we're destroying everything so we can build our empire as quickly as possible. At least in the other medias that I've read and partaken in. And so this kind of just goes into the MO of what it is. But it kind of sets up what are the bad guys doing and where are we going to end up going. And then we have Sagrona Tima. That's Episode 2, Well, let's go with Episode 1. Do we like how that episode started? Or we like...
The way it started was excellent.
You were like, okay, I'm all right with this. Because I know we're a little hesitant. We've had few Star Wars shows that have come out since then, and everyone's a little nervous about how this is going.
It was okay.
It was
just like more of like, where are we going with this kind of thing.
Okay.
I think throughout the whole series, I just was questioning a lot. I was like, what are we doing?
It was one of those things. Every I forgot what it was. Is it like every unit block or whatever, each block of 3 episodes, is that they're introducing a key point that sets up the beginning of Star Wars.
Yeah,
basically.
It's feeding like the lore, because that's kind of what Rogue One was that right before Princess Leia going, you're my only hope.
And so like this is
just like everything
leading up to that
to
point.
Rogue
so
One.
Like this first block, basically the end result after this block is, hey, this is Yavin.
Yeah,
that was kind of
where Cassian brings the ship, and he's got the rebel group where they're bickering and
they just don't trust you, and you're like, we're working together, but we're not.
My people, but I don't really trust you. And you're going, that is kind of weird where you're in this world where you don't
know
who to trust.
And these people are just dumb as rocks.
Yeah, they are not bright.
Like, we don't know how to control this ship, so we're just gonna manually turn the ship to shoot the guns at you. That was kind of funny.
When they got to that part, so so in the second episode, we got more of the, Cassian was captured by them. They don't trust him. They think he's a rebel, or he's an Imperial test pilot.
Right.
And he's like, no, I'm on your side. I know this people. And they're like, he's just saying that. And you're like, I get where, like, it's not so easy to be like, yeah, I should trust you. Totally get it. Like, we're on the same side.
Yeah.
Well, right.
Because
quacks like a duck, and like,
if you trust the wrong person, you die.
You die.
Yeah.
Right. And it just, that's one thing with Star Wars is like, there's a lot of trust issues. No one trusts anyone. And you kind of get that feel with like Lando and like Han Solo, and like that really sets the tone of Star Wars. Like, no one trusts anybody.
Everyone's out for themselves.
Mm-hmm. So we got more of the wedding on Episode 2. I like when Ma and Moth, they're like, let's go for a hike, like.
It's part of the ritual.
Right. And then Mon gets extorted by her old friend.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's kind of what was going on in season 1.
There was a little bit of where she felt, she's like, oh, I just got burned.
I got burned. Like, I thought he was my friend and we're good. And then he's just like, oh, I'll ask for a number. And I'm like, that guy's really stupid. These guys are forming a rebel alliance. Kind of remind me of the Batman scene. Like, your job is to blackmail the man that beats up, he's a vigilante that beats up bad guys for a living. You're going to extort millions from him?
Exactly.
It's like these guys are fighting for their life and getting things and blowing up things, and you think you'll just like, I'll blow the lid off of this and you'll go to jail. It's like, no, man, you're gonna die.
Yeah.
And that's what happens to him. And like, because I was like,
Well, like they don't really like explain that. He jumps in a ship where the pilot is
somebody who was
a part of the
she was in season 1. She
Yes.
was Vel's love interest,
Right.
who's Mon Mothma's cousin. Because
Yeah.
that's when I got to the wedding. I was like, what is the dynamic of this? It's been 3 years and I can't remember the faces.
But
and
yeah, so basically you just see her driving him away and you're just like, oh, he's gonna die. But they don't say it. And so I think not everyone would get that. Catch
Right.
that reference that
Right.
he's gonna die.
Right.
I was like, as soon as he extorted, I was like, you're dead, man. Plus, I saw like
It's
the
oh, I don't recognize you. Oh, yeah, I'm your new driver. Wink.
Luthen's in there going like, don't mess with me. He was like eyeballing the whole entire. He's like, what are you doing? What's going on? Like, he was hardcore staring on
Yeah.
that meeting. You're like, it's like, who's this guy over here? And he's like, ooh, I'm hiding behind the bush. What are you gonna say over there? I was like, please, be cool, man. Be cool. We're back to Bix's story. You know, you got the Imperials. They start showing up. Then there's just this nervous, just like, what do we do and how do we? And it's like, that's got to be nerve wracking having that authority that show up and you're on the run. You're like, man, we got to make decisions and like how to get out.
Right.
And then we kind of finish off. Oh, they're at the wedding. I did like the toast by the husband about relationships. I was like, that was a
was a good one.
well done speech. Kind of like, it's gonna be hard. You're not gonna like each other, but like, they're your partner. Make it work, you
Right.
know. And I was like, that was good.
I love the wedding. The wedding was so beautiful. I was like, this is what we want in a Star Wars hotel.
You want Naboo. You want
I
Naboo
want
style, pretty Star Wars.
Pretty Star Wars.
You don't want gritty like Star Wars Galaxies.
You want
edge,
the Empire side, not the
Well, and it was
Rebel.
the
also-
brutalist style.
And it was also like you got to see Mon Mothma's breaking point.
Oh, that's the next episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I'm just like, this episode was so pretty. My husband was just like, that wedding dress was beautiful.
Somebody's like, make a wedding dress. The girl's like, yes. The costume's like, this is amazing.
And it was just so well done. And I'm like, Disney Parks, please take notes of this episode because this is what, when you say, we're going to build a Star Wars hotel, this is what we want.
Now, help me out. The couple that gets married, they don't really do anything.
Nothing. They're just
Is there
ponting this.
anything in the
Nope.
future
No.
that comes
No.
up? Because
I
they
think
kind of,
Nope, not
you
gonna do
kind
it.
of see them at the last episode or something, but they're
You
just
see
kind of
her
Enemies.
flying
You
around.
see her husband.
He's
you see
in the
Mon
meeting.
Mothma's
But
husband.
there was a part
With-
Oh,
where...
yeah, he's like
Yes.
drunk with the other girl. He just moves on. It's like,
But I
meh.
think you see the couple too, don't you?
No.
No.
I think you see a husband at the gallery showing
Oh,
Oh, do you?
because it was his dad that
Right.
owns those pieces.
Right.
anyway, I guess you don't need to worry about that.
You
No.
see, like, a conversation between mother and daughter.
That was a good scene.
And
Which one? The one after the
before
first fight?
Before the wedding.
Before
the
the
first
wedding.
fight?
When she
Before the
says
show.
you
That's
don't
the
have
next-
to do this.
yeah, she was basically going, like,
You can turn around.
you
right
have a
now.
way out. You don't have to go into this
She's like,
society.
I wish you were drunk like your mom.
he's like, I wish I knew I had this option when I was getting married.
Yeah, she was very real on that moment. And her daughter's like, nah.
And then she went, and I think at that moment she knew she lost her daughter
Yep.
to the society of it all.
To the game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably why it was, I wouldn't say easier, but for her to just focus on that.
Oh, you think that was a nice, clean, like...
I think it was a
I don't
way
have
to
to worry about
break
you.
her lifestyle and the rebellion. And it was a way for her to be like, I just need to focus on this because this is what is bringing me meaning and not my family.
Yeah. I think so. I think that's a good point. I did like going back to the episode to finish up with. You guys like the rock paper scissors game they were playing?
Yeah.
I was like, that was fun.
Rock, paper, scissors, shoot.
So yeah, episode 3 is called The Harvest, and that's where Bix has the confrontation with the Imperial
Right.
lieutenant.
That's so scary.
It's they were.
It's a very intense.
It was very intense. It's edgy, for Star Wars to show someone in authority and someone who's vulnerable and being ultimatum
but
for favor, and
I-
that's
yeah.
it was very, very scary and gritty.
Yeah, it was scary and gritty, but I think it was tastefully done.
Yeah.
I think they did the best they can with
Yeah.
doing in the Star Wars realm and
think
being in
that,
Disney.
like, they didn't take you over the edge with it.
Yeah.
That's a good
I know.
point.
I think some people might think they did, but I don't think.
No,
they did.
no. I think
I
the
think
message was very clear, and the dark side of the Empire.
The Empire and the corruption within the Empire.
And that was one thing Palpatine always said. He goes, he didn't want robots or he didn't want clones, but the biggest downside for the Empire was the corruption of the humans. And so that's where you get like the First Order, where they basically brainwash the kids into full allegiance into the government that they have. And so that's kind of like the next, like
What
where we're
happens?
seeing like what was eroding the system for the Empire. Yeah, we get the wedding, very pretty. Had that big conversation you can get out
Yeah.
of was it Luthen gives them that statue. Yeah, he's there, they're floating around, getting intel. And then we kind of end with like Mon Mothma getting drunk and just like she had like
Letting loose.
four
Just
scenes of her
letting go.
taking alcohol, and then they did that bomb beat. I was
It was
Killer
a
droid.
big
Love that
party
droid.
cycle.
that droid pops. He's like, all right, let's get this party
was
going.
like-
Disco ball droid. You know.
If
I
this
want
thing-
that car. I want that.
I want
that-
that dance party.
I want that dance party like thing. I want that toy, and it has music
Yeah.
that plays with it. You're like, so yeah, that was. I thought that was a fun way of ending the intensity of the wedding, and like the extortion, and her knowing like my friend's dead.
It's definitely not the most exciting arc of this season, but it was definitely like, I think it was good to let us know like where we're heading. It was a good starting point for season 2. This arc,
Yeah. Cassian escapes from the rebels after they're
Yeah.
fighting.
and that's when you
You had the
discover-
dragging the TIE fighter.
That was
That
hilarious.
was funny. It's like, by this calculation, they'll be done this time. And it was like, oh, goodness.
and then you find out that this whole time that he was on Yavin.
He was on Yavin 4.
Yeah.
Yeah. That they were there. Where Yavin 4, for those who don't know, that's the secret rebel base from A New Hope, the original Star Wars. What was something else? Oh, we got to meet Cyril, who was the bureaucrat or the cop from season 1,
right.
and Deidre. They're dating. They are a thing.
I know. It was such a weird thing. They're like, oh, okay, they're putting those two together.
And you're like, all right, just the
Interesting
bureaucrat
mix.
and
They're
stiff.
such a funny couple. They are hilarious. Any scene
So
that they're in it
funny.
together, because they're like, we are together. Yes, we are together. Like they're just like two
Just
robots.
2 robots.
we are the modern imperial couple right here. Watch us flourish.
Like
And
you
then-
can see that like he loves her, but she's like, I'm using you.
You're a means to an end.
Yes.
It was weird.
It was a weird relationship, but I loved
Did you meet the mom?
the mom.
The mom meal. That's this episode,
Yes.
episode 3. I was like, oh man, she is the true villain.
You want to see your son? You got to cut back. Boom, boom, boom.
You're breaking him, and you see him on the bed, like, Mommy's hurting me. I need to take a nap in the other room. I was like, who decided that? Like, I'm not a man.
It was so weird but funny. You're just like, what are we watching?
That was
Every interaction they had was like the best.
You're just like, what is this?
I love when-
really awkward. That's what it is.
and the mom just she walks in and you're like, oh man, you're truly
I love
bad.
the comment where like the mom's mentioning like the uncle a lot, right?
You need to stop talking about the uncle because I know some things about the uncle.
He's got
Yeah.
some shady past. Mom's like, all right, I know. Yeah. So
I work
For
intelligence.
the second,
I know.
for one moment, I thought Lutheran was the uncle.
Lutheran. We got a religious
Oh,
What's his name?
Luthen.
leader.
Luthen. I'm sorry.
I was like, as a Luther, let us go our Protestant ways and convert these imperial heathens and these star wizards.
They've got to have a religion.
Yeah, why not? You have like I have like like a bantha, and you have
Yes.
like I have many banthas dying for this intelligence. You can have the Luther.
Yeah.
Yeah, Luthen, you didn't get a feel like he was just he was so strategic in his thinking that he was fine with losing pawns.
Yeah.
And you got that in season
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Cassian's calling him out later when we go to Gorman. So Gorman's where we said earlier that they were going to extract the Calkite, but they needed a false flag that Deidre was going to head up. And then they sent Cyril out there, who's like the promoted bureaucrat to analyze things and kind of use him as a means to an end. And so, how did we like the Gorman story? The next 3 episodes, the chunk right there.
Technically, the next 6.
Next 4, yeah, because it's like episode.
They made a big point to be like Gorman is the heart of this season.
Yeah, it's the next 4 episodes because the massacre happens on 8.
Sound like they looked like they really patterned it off of the French Resistance.
Yes.
Didn't it
I like the
really
French
Star
look
Wars.
like?
Even the
and
dialect
sound
they
like?
pulled from the
Yes.
French.
Oh,
I looked
yeah.
up, was like, what's Gorman come from?
It
They're like,
was-
the French dialect. I was like, I knew it.
It
But then you
was-
get this weird German, like, ugh, and you're like, whoa.
Well, I mean,
It was giving
France,
Les Mis.
Germany.
You
It
get
was
Les Mis?
giving Space Les Mis.
Space Les Mis. Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, no, I was definitely getting French Resistance.
I was
from
getting World War
II.
II French Resistance, yeah.
And
They're
the,
in
and, the, and
cellars.
the
The little
first-
berets they had too that they
Yeah.
were in.
when they take the first, their first attack, really, that was exciting. That was fun to watch.
Yeah, where they the civilian would pop up and they'd be like, no, go this way. They actually taught us that in the, like our terrorist training when I was in the military. Like when they're setting up a plan, if you see people pushing away with the civilians, and I was like, yeah, they were doing kind of the stuff that we were taught that they would be doing, and so it showed that details that people may have like washed over, but I recognized it from the global war on terrorism and all that. So, it was tough to watch this false flag operation. It's tough to see people caught in the middle and just getting provoked into acting a certain way. So,
Remind me why Cassian really didn't want to get involved in that.
'Cause
Because
it
he
was-
backed away.
He saw.
It was a dying fight. Like he didn't.
He knew everyone was gonna die.
yeah. And Luthen was like, hey, this is good for the cause because
gonna
this
inspire
is
people."
propaganda to evoke the fires of rebellion. And Cassian's like, I'm with the people. Like he
Which-
saw his past. He saw in season 1 what happened to them and the loss of life there.
Yeah.
And he's like, I have a hard time because he's at the tactical level while Luthen's at the strategic big
And-
picture.
And this whole Gorman thing, they didn't just make this up for this series. Like this is actually like
It's in lore.
in
Oh,
Star
is
Wars
it?
lore. The Gorman massacre.
Like a Gorman massacre or the Gorman
is what
genocide.
triggers
When
the
do
rebellion.
they reference it in the movies?
No,
no, not in the movies.
no,
I know in the Rebels
comics.
TV show.
Oh, okay.
There's actually you can actually see. Well, we could talk about it later, but there's a continuation from Mon Mothma leaving the Senate and the Rebels TV show. They interconnect.
It's kind of like they have this like, well, we have this another way of how we extracted her. So there was
Right.
kind of this like
We haven't. That's why there's like
The
Andor didn't
official story and then
the
what really
unofficial
happened.
story because Cassian didn't get all the credit. It went to somebody else.
Right.
We have to optics have to look good.
Yeah.
Our guys saved the day. So they're setting up everything for Gorman. What was it? Is that where we have Cassian? Oh, Cassian he goes to Gorman the next episode, and he has the coolest name ever. Do you remember what it was? Verum Sky. And I was like, that is so cool. Like, my daughter's middle name is Sky, but I was like, but the Verum, I was like, I'm Verum Sky. And he was this fashionista that was going there to meet with the resistance there, and that's where he comes to that conclusion, like, this is not going to help you. You know, but they're like, you can't stand by and let it happen.
Name that has like a V, like starts with V, has like a presence to it.
Like Vlad,
Victor, you know,
Vader.
Vader. Exactly. V names have power.
I'm trying to think, is there a V name that's not so great?
Velma.
Velma, yeah, maybe.
I wouldn't choose so ominous.
Boy names, I don't know.
So yeah, that's where it's like, I have friends everywhere. That was kind of the cool code name. That was the name of the episode. I have friends everywhere. Do you guys like the busboy? He was kind of cool where he was explaining things.
Oh, like in the hotel?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And then we get the Saw Gerrera. He shows up.
Hello.
Favorite line from Rogue One. Sorry.
He's been huffing that chemical that was in that bomb way too much, and he's gone crazy. And I think that was a good representation. Like, you get so far into your cause that he has that utilitarian, like, you have no use for me, you're gone. Like, you're a liability. We have very little wiggle room, and that's where you have Willman, who was going to get killed, but the guy who was training got killed because he couldn't do the job. And you're like, man, that's cutthroat, but it's not a very forgiving
I don't
force.
Work there,
Yeah.
Right? Now, I love the end of that episode. He's like, here, take off your mask, and he's all like, Willman,
I was so confused. I was like, is he trying to kill him?
is the bomb getting initiated? Like, where did that bomb get? Is it in Jeddah when it blows up? Or no, because
it was something like with the fuel.
Well, yeah, they were siphoning off fuel.
Yeah.
That's what they were doing.
Oh, they're siphoning fuel?
Yeah.
I thought it was a bomb.
No, they were siphoning fuel.
It would blow up like a bomb if it wasn't.
And that's where he's like, oh, you could feel the burning in your like lungs, and it was like,
yeah, it had to be done right, otherwise it would blow up when you're trying to siphon fuel.
Okay, all right, that makes sense, because I was like, nothing happened with this. What's going on? So we did all this work for like
to show two guys get high.
Or say a guy with a hose sticking in a gas tank and siphoning it, you know, like, don't drink too much. It burns when you get in your lungs, you know, like, essentially.
I just remember watching that. I was like, okay, I know that he wanted him dead. Is he trying to kill him now naturally, like suicide for the cause? I was like, I just don't get it.
That was a little unclear.
It was
Wasn't
confusing.
sure.
There was no proper conclusion to that didn't lead into anything.
No, it didn't. He just popped up later, and you're like, oh, I guess he's alive. Okay.
He's just there.
There's a little bit of that.
I like how he just like forgets about his girlfriend back on the farm.
I wonder whether some of things got left
Should be
on the
right.
editing
got the harvest.
floor.
Say that again.
I think some things may have been left on the editing room floor in this series.
Willman was kind of that like background character, you know, where he's like 3/4 of the size of Cassian's head on the movie poster.
Right.
You know, like, you can't give him too much time. Then you have to increase the size on the poster.
We've got enough big heads.
So, yeah, we have another festival where Luthen and Clea are trying to retrieve the bug.
Because
Because they were...
they were going to analyze all the pieces because
there was some
fakes. Forgeries.
Yeah. And then we get, like, Bix and Cassian and Coruscant, where Bix is doing drugs.
Yeah.
What'd you guys think of that kind of, like, storyline?
It seemed reasonable for
Like,
what
she's been
she
through
had
some
been
trauma.
through. She'd been through
What?
some pretty nasty torture.
Yeah.
So.
It was just like
they gave her a proper conclusion to that for that at the very end.
At the end of this episode, yeah, they got Dr. Gorst and they confronted him. That was pretty clever. It was
fun to like see
Jackie
that
likes
revenge.
capturing and torture and blowing up the bad guy.
Are you the Nurse Julie from Heavyweight? She was all like, "We captured him. Oh, goody!"
It was fun to see the girls reaction of like getting peace from it.
She was in control and she had power and
I'm scared, Jackie. I don't want to cross you because it's all like, you're going to blow people up. Like, she has peace. She trapped him, strapped him down, tortured his brain, and then blew him up. I am complete. Oh, goodness. Some people go to therapy. Jackie's like, explosives and brain torture.
I would rather watch that in a show compared to her just getting high and looking at a window.
Yeah, I guess so. I need good TV. We don't need
that was something in this arc that they haven't really explored too much, and that was the television aspect, the media aspect of the Star Wars
that
universe.
was a background noise that they were really showing, like, how is the propaganda and the spinning of the stories.
That was kind of like what this arc was about propaganda. And
that was one of my problems with it, as I said, can we try to make it look like the world we live in now and make it look more in a galaxy far, far away rather than, okay, these are reporters. These are, it just started to look.
I did, actually.
You thought so? Okay.
I kind of got more of like, oh, you're hitting upon like, well, you had like the Harvest and you had the Imperial and you have like, you're not documented. I can, like you see the abuse of power that could happen. And I'm not saying that's happening now, but you could see how it's happening.
It could happen.
And then you see like the news reports are going like, oh, everything's going fine in Gorman, or like they're pumping up like the war drums.
Right.
I kind of saw, but it wasn't.
The only part,
it wasn't overt.
The
it
only
was
one that I didn't
background.
care for was the Good Morning Coruscant. And that
that was a little weird.
Yeah.
The two people. They were kind of making fun of like Good Morning America or the Today Show with like.
As I said, it seemed like it was
That
getting
part?
a little too close.
I think it was too
home.
close. Okay.
I think that aspect, yes, but like when it was like the reporters and Gorman, I didn't have a problem with that.
I like my galaxy far, far away to be.
You didn't want to be too close.
Not too
Okay, I thought
close.
you wanted it the other way.
No.
Okay, all right. So I misunderstood you
You
on
want
that
to
one.
escape in the Star Wars
Yes.
universe. You do not want to be like, oh, I'm living in that Star Wars universe.
Am I on the Empire side? Am I the baddie?
A lot of
Am I the one eating cereal?
a lot of the show, I
Right.
said this could take place on planet Earth for the most part. Only occasionally, there's a stormtrooper. Oh yeah, this is a Star Wars show, because it could have just been a drama placed here on Earth,
And they could have, and people comment, it's all like, when we were, in the Middle East, you would get people, they watch our movies and stuff, and they're like, we're like the Rebel Alliance, and I'm like, well, if you're the Rebel Alliance, then I'm the what? I'm the baddie, but you guys are doing horrible things, and then they're like, you're doing horrible things, and so, it's hard not to have that, and they had that.
That goes into the story point for what is it? The Last Jedi, where they're like, "Oh, you're good guys. Yeah, they only do stuff with the bad guys. Oh, look. Oh, they fund you too. Oh,
Yeah. They
like
did that with the selling of
like their
the military-industrial
Yes.
complex that they have. It's like, it's just a game. They just want to make money off of you.
That's it.
So yeah, we had episode 7 where there was the messenger. What did you guys think of the psychic, Star Wars psychics, where she touches them, goes, oh,
She was kind of like a healer.
you're a messenger. I was like, is she a Jedi? Did she have that healing? Like, did she heal him?
I thought it was pointless.
Okay, I kind of agree with you on
I
that.
thought like
Unless she was a
they
Jedi
could've just,
before
like-
that was hiding.
Yeah, she came back at the end. I was like,
She did the nod.
yeah.
She's like, I knew you were a messenger. You're on. She's like, you're on your final quest, son.
It's like when Vicky Valancourt called the end of the game of the Bourbon Bowl, where it's like, mud dogs are gonna win, and then like as we get close to that, she's looking at the TV
She's
report
like,
mhm.
the swan, and you're just like, yeah, that's right.
I
the
was
same
okay
thing.
with it because it's part of
It's
Star
Star
Wars.
The foreshadowing.
And so I like it.
It would make sense that there's going to be Force sensitive people in the Rebel Alliance.
It just kind of set the stage a little bit more, so it didn't feel like this is just a political drama.
That
it
was
could
good.
be anywhere.
They threw a
some
little
mysticism.
mysticism. Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Yeah. So
Maybe they just needed to put a little bit more into that,
I
and
could
I
have.
would have
I agree. I
I
think they
would've-
probably should have.
taken it a
because
little
Vic's like,
bit more.
I think she's got something, and he's like, I have no time for your like crystals
like,
and stuff.
I
Like,
got people barking at me. I got do
Again,
things.
it may be on the editing room floor somewhere.
Yeah.
boy, you're very apologetic for the editing process of this. So we get introduced to Captain Kaido.
Yeah.
He's kind of like the genocide guy. He's the guy who gets his hands dirty, and like I like the moment with Deidre with him, and he's all like, "I'm just the trigger. I'm not the one telling the trigger to be like pulled. That's your job."
Yep.
And basically saying, "Yeah, I'm the bad guy, but you have to tell the bad guy what to do." You know, and he kind of just put that, and I was like, "Oh, that was dark." It's like your hands aren't
It was
clean.
very
of this.
very dark section there. Yes.
And you can see where Deidre was, she was so conflicted. She's like, this is what I want. This is what I'm supposed to do. But she knows, you can see that it's wrong. Like the moral compass that is in her, she kind of does like, man, this is real. And I have to commit to it.
This is
Yeah.
one of my bigger problems with it is because I don't think that they prepped the audience to make you feel like Deidre's going to have those hesitancies. And I felt like, they needed to have her spend more time buying flowers on the street or something to get to know these people are
I think
human.
Sorrel
I
was
mean,
that
I could
flower buying for her.
see-
That kind of like softened her a bit.
I mean, she was a woman in the Empire, which was not common to see, right? And she was high up, and so she had to put up that like facade of like,
She's got to wear those goofy golf pants. You know?
but like I have to be power. I'm in control. Like, do not bother me with your. She had to put up those walls to show like. Or the men in that room would have just walked all over her.
Yeah, she walked all over them by stealing their stuff, and that got her in trouble. That's for sure.
But my feeling was they just didn't explain that. They showed her as being really hard nosed. She is Empire all the way, and then all of a sudden there's this hesitancy that they're trying to create. Nice. I just didn't feel they built that up
Maybe it's
well enough.
She's a hunter, and she's used to hunting people, but I don't think she was prepped for doing this type of operation where she is like where innocent people. Like before, she was like, I'm hunting bad guys that are hurting the Empire.
Yes.
And this, I'm creating good people that are not bad into bad guys. And I think that's kind of a new line for her. Because it's easy to hunt bad guys who are trying to hurt your organization.
Sure.
So I could see that. I mean, the softening up, I think Surreal does help with that. Like, I got a boyfriend. We turn the lights off when we're together.
It's not like
Turn off the lights. But I want the
like,
lights on. Turn them off.
you got 5 minutes.
see.
You got 5 minutes. Lights.
I think Cirilla also, I felt kind of the same way with him, that they didn't quite prep him. It was
Nah.
really kind of negative all the way, and then all of a sudden,
At the end.
He's like,
all of a sudden,
we're going to do bad
we're
things
going
to
to do
people.
bad things, and I'm just going to go out there.
I'm just a pawn
Well,
in your
we
game.
missed something with Cyril.
Yeah.
Where we missed that transition from the second arc to the third arc.
Yeah.
Where, because all of a sudden ended it with a buddy with Gormans, and then when the next arc began, all the Gormans hated him. So like we missed that transition.
Yeah.
There was parts where I was like, okay,
When they kind of, the aha, like, oh, we're screwed.
yeah.
You tricked us. We
Right.
fell into your trap.
Yeah, I would say just throughout the whole series, I was like, I feel like I'm missing pieces to the puzzle here.
They didn't, again, it's left on the editing room floor somewhere.
They're all like, Mon Mothma dancing. We need 4 scenes of her taking shots. Or Cyril's story of why he is, or Cyril, what is his name?
Cyril.
Cyril or something like that. Him and his development. Nah, let's get some dance music in here. So Dad said 3. We have got 3 critical things that have been dropped by the editors. All right. Can we make it 5?
Oh, that probably a lot of
Probably.
those. Yeah.
So, okay, we get to episode 8, and that's the massacre. That whole episode is the slow build up to everyone.
It seems like a slow massacre too.
Man, it was so. I was
Well,
like,
and somebody
I'm watching
pointed
it at
out,
like 10 o'clock at night. I'm like, man, this is heavy to go to bed to.
well, I
Yeah.
think to contrary to what you were saying about Deidre, because I listened to somebody else talk about it, and they brought up a valid point where they says, I don't think she was showing hesitancy because of, a moral compass. I think she was getting nervous because they weren't acting like they should be. They weren't acting like, we're going to fight you. They
No,
were very
they were
peaceful.
united. They were yeah.
peacefully protesting in the courtyard, and they weren't acting like she was expecting them to.
That's a
And
good
so
point.
she was feeling nervous.
She lost control
It's-
of the
it-
situation.
Yeah, it's kind of like how like communism fell in Europe, where it wasn't a violent one, it was a united, like, we stopped believing, and for them they were like, we're united, and they had that song from like the massacre
From
The-
with
Les
Tarkin.
Miserables.
Yeah, well, yeah.
I think
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Tarkin massacre.
Yeah.
The Tarkin massacre, so they had that camaraderie instead of just turning into an angry mob that's going to attack. Yeah, that's a good point. I could see that. I could see that way of seeing that
and
scene.
then Cyril snaps and then chokes out Deidre.
Oh yeah, that,
That was
was
intense.
crazy. I was like,
You could tell she liked it. She's like, "Oh, I like this side of you."
She was still concerned about him. So
I mean, afterwards, she's all like, "I gotta go save my boyfriend.
Yep.
I need him to come back."
It's like
he's the only one that would look at me.
He's the only one who's gonna choke her.
it's the first
Turn
time
the
you
lights
get
on.
that love feeling from her. You don't really.
It's the most
see
human
it
side to
anywhere.
her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And it
really
was just
is.
kind of like, okay.
I was waiting for her to say, like, during that scene, it's like, what would your mother say in this moment? Just really get under his skin, like, really poke at him.
So I started to wonder, is she going to join the rebellion? And what is she? What?
Yeah, there was the questions of, like, what is her part, where she's going to go.
What's her arc?
And that we at the end of the massacre, you had Cyril,
Confronts Andor.
Andor,
Oh,
Cassian, and they
yes.
fight each other.
Because Andor's about to shoot
Deidre.
and he sees him. He's like, "You've ruined my life."
I have been hunting
It's-
you
it's-
forever.
It's that Obi-Wan Kenobi, like, and Anakin started, I hate you! Like, that was hate right there.
Like, he was ready to leave. Like, he didn't want anything to do with what was happening with the
Saw
Empire.
him, he
just wanted to
triggered.
leave, but then he was all like, Andor, you!
Focus
Tunnel
all his rage
vision.
on him.
Yep.
Yeah.
You stole my date to prom and sent me spiraling.
And it ended perfectly when Andor looks at him and goes, "Who are you?"
And that's the name of the episode. Who are you?
That was such I love the writing in that when they said that because it just showed like he just fixated like on him and like making a bigger deal in his head when in reality the other person doesn't even know.
That's the biggest insult you could just say to someone that's so mad at you, and they're like, "You did this and this," and you're like,
I don't even know.
"I don't remember you." You've been.
Yeah.
That means you've had so much real estate in their brain for so
well, it's
long.
like Thanos did it in Endgame with
Drax.
Drax.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah.
because Drax has been. Yeah, that's a good comparison right there.
But it was kind of hard to see his character end that
But
way.
where was he gonna go? He's gonna join the Empire or the Rebel Alliance.
It just felt like they really built this character up, and we followed him along for a long time when he really wasn't doing anything
I agree.
interesting, and then they
thing
kept
is-
following him, and then, okay, we're just going to...
It's kind of like
End him
Wilman,
off there.
the guy who was like with the huffing like fuel with Saw in that one episode. He was one of those characters where you're like, boy, you're getting some time, but what are you doing?
But
you know?
he's also a character like that I think a lot of people can relate to in the sense of like sometimes we have these like thoughts in our head of like we create these monsters in everyday people, everyday life, or like, you know, whether it be, you know, your local politician or your neighbor.
It's
or
someone that you've
it's
never
just
really interacted
someone
with.
you don't have any interactions, but you've created this monster in your head. and in the end, it didn't even matter.
Yeah, a lost life right there.
And you've wasted everything. All of your life has been built to this moment, and it means nothing. And it's just like one of those like lessons that we need to learn to let these things go.
Yeah.
All right.
And he does. He says that.
Yeah, he's dead.
He lowers his weapon, and then he gets shot.
What? Cassian does
he-
not joke
he
around with a
has an
pistol.
eye-
He will
yeah.
shoot you cold.
Oh,
like,
Well,
yeah.
he didn't shoot him though.
It was one of the French guys.
oh, it was the French guys?
It was
the
one-
Gormans.
the
sorry.
Gormans.
The Gorman.
Oh,
The one that was, it was the Gorman that was all like, "Oh, this
You
is a
betrayed
trap.
me. You betrayed me.
This is a trap. We're gonna all
he
be
didn't like
killed."
Cyril. He didn't like Cyril.
now. Well, I'm glad we're talking about Cyril because I keep saying his name wrong, so I'm glad he's dead.
Cereal.
Cereal.
He loved
Cereal.
his cereal.
Nom 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 nom. Okay, so we get to episode 9. This is the Welcome to the Rebellion. This is Mon Mothman's speech. This is she's like, I'm done.
Great episode.
I think-
Probably my
Yes.
favorite
I think this was
episode.
the best episode. I think you
Yes.
mentioned like you watched this and you're like, what's left of the show? Like, I'm
Yep.
good.
I thought at
Yeah.
that point it was
It was good. Like that was peak, but they had to set up.
They had to tie up
They had to
more, tie up
tie-
loose ends and
I
stuff
was
like
just
that.
thinking,
They had a lot of
is
loose
this the end of the series? I didn't know if there were 3 more episodes or not. I said they could end it here.
But yeah, like
But
it was.
the rescue of her after she gives her speech, very, very fun.
So there was a setup where
Scene.
Luthen confronts Mon Mothma before the speech. Like even Bail Organa is like, which you guys recognize Bail?
Nope, they
Not-
recast.
They
him.
recasted him. There was scheduling
That's
conflict.
who I was gonna pretend to be. I was gonna pretend to be Bale. Be like, I got recast again. You know?
So, yeah, there was a confrontation where Bail Organa was gonna like, hey, I'm gonna have a team pick you up because you're gonna be hot, like in the sense of like the Empire's gonna want to get you and you're gonna disappear because they can't have you here. And and Luthen's like, hey, they got a guy that's on the inside with they're corrupted, they're compromised. Don't go with them. And like Mon's like, hey, that's. I don't know who to trust. Like, this is my best friend. Why would he throw me under the bus? Why would he put me at risk willingly? And so like she's left with this choice going into the speech of like, what do I do afterwards? She doesn't even have an exit plan, but she knows like I have to do this speech. Like this speech is everything. Like I cannot
all
go along anymore.
Palpatine's fault.
Palpatine?
Palpatine.
Palpatine? Have you had your Palpatine today?
Ovaltine have more of Palpatine.
Oh, there's your banthas.
Sorry.
Many banthas
He
died.
needs a V in his name.
Valpapines. Valpapines. Have you had your Valpapines? All right. So yeah, the Mon Mothma gives her speech. It's great. It's a great speech about like we can't turn a blind eye anymore. We need to
Well, there was-
enough is enough.
There was like a line. She's like, "Against Emperor Palpatine,"
The
and I
ending
was
line.
like, "Oh."
I was like, yeah, you're
like,
done.
ooh,
Yep.
that was a big shot.
And that's why she knew. I gotta run. I
And
gotta run.
and she exits out and she confronts Cassian. Cassian gives her the code where like I've got friends.
We're
What was
all
it?
friends.
We're all friends, right? Or I've got
No,
friends
I've got-
everywhere.
I've got friends everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the line right there from episode
And
5.
she was told by Luthen.
Luthen says like,
To-
I have a guy.
He'll
He'll
say
be there.
this.
Trust him.
Yeah.
And like Luthen and Cassian's beat up
yeah.
from before.
From
Right, the Gorman massacre.
yes.
And he's like, I was there in Gorman. Like, I'm here with you. And so yeah, they go through that scene, and then that's where the ISB person confronts them and says like, you're under arrest. And that was where the driver came in and goes like, you're a rebel spy. And then like they shot. I was like,
shot.
that was awesome. That was like great spy standoff.
Yes.
And I was like, that was great.
She's a rebel.
That's a way of getting out of it, you know.
Right?
And
Call out. She's like, what?
Mon's like, I'm not ready for this. I'm a
Well,
politician.
that was
I
a
am
real.
polished.
That was a great moment for her because like
This
This
is
is-
what she's been funding and building and fighting
this
for.
is the first time like she's seeing it happen in front of her.
And I don't know if it was before this, but Cassian says the line, welcome to the rebellion.
Yeah.
I was like, that is bad.
Yeah.
Like, it just shows you, like, he is cold. He's just in this and, like, this is what we do. And it's like, yeah, you talk, but we're action people. And then, like, you have another cold moment with Cassian as he, you know, like, just like, that's your driver. And he's like, yeah, but he's been placed by the ISB. And he's like, yeah, come over here. And, like, he just shoots him cold right there. And, like, Mon's just like, holy cow. Like,
Right.
I have no idea
You
what.
just killed 2 people.
You just killed people right in front of me. Like, she is not ready for this. But you know what? I don't think there's any better way of becoming a leader for Rebellion Alliance than seeing the bloodshed that you're going to be doing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's good guys and bad guys, and you have to choose in a moment or you're going to get killed.
And we kind of talked about this before. There's an episode of the TV show Rebels that's basically the direct sequel to this episode from Mon Mothma's point of view. So basically, because they say at the end of the episode, like, Andor's like, oh, okay, well, I'll take her to Yavin, and they're like, no, we gotta bring in our own people.
Yeah, they were like, we got our optics. We got to have good optics. We can't have just some random Luthen guy.
Right. And so
Our guy's got to do it.
And so there's this whole adventure with the cast from Rebels that they interact with her, and like they talk about. There's like, oh, do you want to hear her speech that she gives? You actually get to hear that speech if you watch the Rebels episode.
How cool.
And so
I think
that's
the
why
writers
they
I
got
gotta
lazy.
watch that episode.
That's why they didn't dwell too much on like the next step for her, because it's like, well,
It's already been done.
We already did it.
Yeah.
So we need to go back to Gorman.
Yeah, we forgot.
But we forgot because this
Oh,
is the
it's the
most Star Wars thing is that the robot K2SO.
I was like, I looked right at the bottom of that. I was
Yeah.
like, I totally skipped it. Yes. So back at Gorman, the Killbot for the Empire. You know,
It was crazy when they brought the killbots and they're just throwing bodies. That was intense.
Yes. It was.
What are they? They're like crowd control. They call them like crowd.
Yeah, they look very effective.
Yeah.
They look very effective.
yeah, I was like, man, you'd give Robobot a RoboCop a run for his money. That's for
Yeah.
sure. Like,
Nope. It looks like they've really advanced from episode 1, 2, and 3
Roger,
on
Roger.
the droids. Yes.
no, you get him. Yeah. So they one of the Killbots, K2SO, is run over, and then they Frankenstein him at the end of this episode, and from that point on, for the rest of the episodes, I'm like, where can we have done this at the beginning?
Yeah.
He was the best character.
He was
in
Yes.
the
the show.
comedy of it all.
I don't think he's the best because
He was
Cassian is
Yes.
a great actor and
It's a
and
great
following.
story and
It's a great
character.
story, but K2SO brings Star Wars back into it. The
Yes.
fun,
Yes.
the sarcasm,
What I
really
was
worked.
hoping they were gonna do with his character was that they were gonna convert his droid into
Ooh, kind
That's
of
what I
like how
thought
the
they were gonna-
hyperdrive was
Oh.
the robot from
right. I thought they were just gonna
from
like,
Solo.
oh well, we obviously can't use the same, memory processing for the
Yeah, they
Imperial
kind of dropped
droid.
that whole character. That whole robot got dropped.
Yeah, like they made a whole thing about rescuing him in season 1, and then it's like, first arc, like, oh yeah, this droid is.
You stay
we're just
back
gonna,
with a
like,
harvest and hang out with the other robots and become
and
friends.
play
Yeah.
and race each other. They have
Yeah.
a weird racing moment at the end. It's like, okay, that's weird. I
Let's
win.
go race,
I
buddy.
win. Let's go again.
Yes.
Droids deserve happiness too, Peter.
Yeah. The Killbot, the K2, the Frankenstein, that was fun. And
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then we get what was it? Make It Stop. That's episode 10, where it's more about Luthen's flashback. Luthen is confronted by Deidre. He was Axis, which I had totally forgotten.
He's been found out.
He's been found out, and Deidre confronts him, and he's all like, nah, I'm not going out easily. And
He stabs himself.
yeah, he stabs himself, but he's not dead. And
Well,
so
we find out the secret. They found out about the Death Star.
Yes.
yes, they did, from the ISB double agent
Yes.
that was there. He
Which
wanted
I
a
was
way
kinda-
out, and Luthen was cold. Like he's like,
He just-
yeah, you're a liability now. I'm sorry. I
I'm really
can't."
worried about my family. Oh, I understand. Boom,
Boom,
you're dead.
It's so like you
He's
probably
like,
should
tell
have
me
stayed
where
with the
you're
Empire.
gonna tell me where you're gonna take my family. Oh, yeah, but
Pet the rabbits, George. Pet the rabbits. They're so soft.
Right.
So yeah, Luthen is captured, and then you see like Clea's kind of her story.
Right.
10 episodes into the second
I
season.
thought she was gonna be Andor's sister.
You thought she was Andor's sister?
I thought that's how they were gonna bring that back.
No,
I
I
know,
liked
they
her
didn't-
story.
They
but-
didn't connect that anywhere.
Yep.
They should
Yeah,
have.
you were mentioning that earlier. Like, that's a loose end
They
right
just
there.
left
Whatever
that
it was.
loose. Like it was like this big integral part of like I've got to find my sister. And then they
Andor
just forgot
3.
about it.
Andor 3.
Well,
Right, right.
Well, I mean, that's not much of a window between Rogue One and there. Well, before he goes all the way to.
Yeah, they should have connected that. Oh well.
It was just kind of like an empty, like, oh,
It was 3 years ago. Maybe they won't remember that part of the storyline. Yeah, I call this Clea's episode. We get her story. She does this cool, mercy kill,
yeah.
and then she sends out the signal to be extracted.
I mean, it was pretty cool that she
It was pretty
got
cool.
in the hospital
hospital.
and she's all by herself. And
Yeah,
she's-
that scene was all very, very
It was really
fun.
cool.
The hospital, yeah.
It
like
was-
it just showed like her skill level, and like before you didn't realize she was. You just like, oh, she's just the assistant,
She's
the
the signals
communicator.
intelligent.
Yeah,
She's listening in.
But she's like full on like
she was committed.
doing it
She
all.
has the skills.
Yeah, you get that
Yeah.
flashback where they initiate the bomb in Naboo.
Mm-hmm.
We're just like push the button. It's just like, "Nah," and he's like, look at me. Look at me. Now we're gonna go.
How committed are you? You want to do this? You wanted to do this. You ready to do this?
Are you my daughter? Let's do this. I was like, wow, that's pretty intense.
I liked her. She was one of my favorites.
She was a good character.
Yeah.
I didn't really like. She was kind of behind the
She
scenes,
was in
but
the
she
back up until
elevated
they-
at the
yes.
end. It's probably what we wanted with our other characters that were kind of hanging around
Yeah.
throughout the series.
Yes.
And then they go. Cassian breaks the rules in Yavin and leaves
To go rescue her.
rescue her.
Very fun.
Yeah, and then that's where we get the fun Star Wars with K2.
Yep.
He just comes in and he's like, I've cleared a path, and you're just like, yeah, you did.
Before that, though, I didn't get their whole like argument in the apartment where she's like, "You have to tell them these things, right?"
She still felt obligated that she needed to stay, or she wasn't going to be welcomed.
Yeah,
because
it's the fraction.
Luthen was pushed out
Right.
of what they were building, even though Luthen,
They couldn't trust him because of like what he was doing. He was
Right.
doing things that they couldn't control. Because when you're playing the power game, it's a control thing, and it's a liability to have somebody else over here doing this thing, and you can't control him. And
so-
no one could control Luthen. He
And-
wouldn't allow it.
and she was a part of that, and so that's why she didn't feel like they're gonna kill me. Like they're gonna bring me over there and they're gonna kill me.
And Cassian was going, "You're going to die here if you stay."
Yeah. And yeah, she was selling the intel of like Death Star. This is what everything is. This is where it's all come to. This is the end game. But they escape. I thought it was fun to
Oh,
see
yeah, it's
K2. It was
K2.
yeah,
K2
K2
just wiped
stole
the
it, and I was like,
floor.
thank goodness.
It
I
was so funny. It was just like when they killed like the radio comms, and he's like, "Uh-oh," and he's just walking casually,
Yep.
just like
And
destroying.
and they're all like, "We didn't call for a riot droid. Like, what's going on? Like, what are you?"
I liked how he was using the nerdy ISB guy as a shield.
Yes.
That was, I was like, yes, no one liked that guy. He
it was a
deserved to
little
be used as
gruesome,
a.
and you're just like, "Ooh."
Yeah, his neck was like wobbling
Yeah.
around.
The
He looked like the
IS
Jedi with the wiggly neck. He's like, moo.
All of the ISB people had very gruesome deaths in this arc,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
endings. I should say endings, because Deidre didn't die.
She did die. She
Well-
died slowly in that
In
cell.
that prison?
Yeah, that was-
She got sent to prison.
she
you
got
know.
sent into that one prison, probably. Or
Yeah.
prison like.
Good though. They can bring that back because the prison scenes were great in Andor 1.
That was a good chunk right there. Yeah. So we get everyone together. You do get the feel of like the alliance. It is an alliance. Not everyone trusts each other. Everyone comes in with their pieces in that meeting where they don't believe in Cassian. But in the end, you're like, all right, we'll buy into this a little bit. But this is your kind of baby because this is your intel.
You gotta lead
you
into
gotta
it.
lead this because we've got our own thing and we're not fully in on this. We need more proof.
and that led us, and that it was the perfect setting up to how we are where you leave off at the beginning of Rogue One.
With the
Yeah.
space switch that can go like you're a messenger.
Well,
doing
like,
the
you-
nod
you
like you
see-
got this messenger.
You get to
It's
see
like the
that.
kid that gives a thumbs up.
God, yes, he's in the background of the class. You can do it.
But like you see that everyone is where they need to be at the end of the movie. Like they had that montage of this is where this person is. This is how this person ended
It's
up.
very easy to go from the ending here and go straight into Rogue
Yes.
One
Yes.
and watch it, and it's like, oh wow, this all makes
It
makes
blends.
sense.
Blends so easily to
So
it.
they did an excellent job like that. Not like some of the Star Wars sequels where it's just kind of like, what's going on here?
We're doing the Hodo maneuver. We can't do that. Yes. And I think everyone, what they succeeded in was going, I want to watch Rogue One now.
Yes.
Like, and that's the number one movie right
Yep.
now, or number one thing streaming on
Disney
Disney Plus. It's beating out the Kung Fu Panda.
Right?
I saw that today. I was like, Kung Fu Pandas on Disney Plus?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
With the Hulu
Yeah.
package.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, if you got the Hulu package, you'll see like Kung Fu Panda
Yeah.
on there. But yes, Rogue One is number one because it was 12:30 at night and I finished this, and I was like, I want to watch the first part
You do.
of it, and I
Yep.
watched it, and I'm all like, when Cassian shot that guy, I remember when I first watched it, I was like, man, that's dark. That's not,
Yes.
that's not real like rebel good guy stuff. But after watching
Rogue.
Andor, I was like, yeah, Andor, you freaking kill that guy. Like, my legs are broken. My arm is like, you're gonna die. And he's like, yeah, buddy, you're dead. Like,
You're a liability.
But it starts to get, Rogue One has some of that fun in there.
Yeah.
And you can feel it, and it kind of builds, and then when you end up with A New Hope scenes at the end, it's like, oh,
was
this
that
is
transition.
perfect.
Well, and they.
What's your least favorite part of Rogue One, Peter? Do it, Peter.
It's like.
Don't choke.
Be careful not to choke on your aspirations, Commander Krennic.
You hate that.
I hate that line.
I think, did we see that movie
much.
together?
I don't know if we did.
But I remember you just saying like, I can't believe they made Darth Vader punny.
that pun really
It
took me
took you out.
But
And they got that from Darth Vader is my father or something.
Yeah.
That book series. So he's telling father jokes. Anyway.
Well, I mean, German word for father is Vader, so.
but I watched some of the behind the scenes on it, and they talked about how like throughout this second season they were slowly transitioning the music to more orchestra music so that as you watch it, like
You'll go into the movie.
you'll go right into the movie.
Yeah, the orchestra. That's one thing when I was watching Rogue One. I was like, this music is different, and I was kind of like, I wasn't ready for it. So I
Right.
think the music was better in the TV show as opposed to the intro. It threw me off on how they did the music in the beginning of Rogue One. But you had to get into that movie
Right.
orchestra as opposed to Mon Mothma dance
What,
music.
what were your thoughts on Andor's girlfriend,
Bix?
Bix, leaving?
Having a baby?
No, leaving him. Like, oh,
Well, because Andor was having the conflict of leaving.
She was holding him
Family
back.
or rebellion.
Right.
Family or
and
rebellion.
she knew, and she listened to the witch that you guys like to make fun of, and believed that Andor had a purpose,
did.
she didn't want to stand in the way of his purpose, and so that's why she
It's
left.
Miss Cleo on TV.
Yes.
Miss
but did
Cleo
you
told me
like
this.
that storyline for her?
I didn't really care for her character.
I
so
didn't.
much,
I was
so
just like,
I was
oh,
okay with it.
I was expecting her to die in the
You
series.
think she was going to go to Coruscant and go back to drugs? It's like,
I
you need to
liked
stay
it.
here. I need to go here.
It kind of left you with Darth Vader spiraling out at the end, and you say, "Oh, there could be follow up there because
She got a
holding
kid.
the baby there," and you kind of go, "Oh,
Who's the baby? Is it Poe Dameron?
Maybe.
That's what everyone.
Oh, is
online
that what people are
People are
saying?
speculating. I don't think it is. I think it's just
A baby?
It's just a random baby.
Babies,
No one-
they're babies.
I don't know. The whole baby thing, I was like, okay, but what would they do with this baby?
They will raise that baby up. You.
He's going to go to a galaxy far, far away, and he's going to come to Earth.
Dun, 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 dun. Is that what you're doing, Star Wars or doing
I don't
Superman now?
Or
It's Davis Kal-El.
he becomes a Jedi and then Kylo Ren kills him. Ooh.
No,
Wow,
not
that's
necessarily.
really dark, Jackie.
Again, Jackie likes the dark stuff.
He's probably going to want to learn about his father, and he's going to learn about his father, and
He was a great man.
I don't know.
That is-
I just felt like it wasn't needed.
I thought it was
It was
good.
good to see
It
that
left
she was happy. There was a happy ending, like
She had a happy ending, and
Yeah.
I was okay with it.
because we all know the end of the story of like he
She
just-
was essential for Cassian.
Andor,
Yeah, you had to have her in there, and I
She-
thought
she grounded him
Yes.
as somewhere to go to, and then left him where in the place that he needed to be.
Right.
right.
And goes, I'm leaving you. This is where you belong. Stay here. And he did. He listened.
And then fell in love with another girl.
No, I don't think they ever fell in love. I don't.
I think there was
Comrades
I
in
thought there
arms.
was tension in that mission.
There-
At the end, we're like, we're about to die.
But I don't. I wouldn't consider that a romantic thing.
I don't know.
I don't
I
think
felt
so.
more romance in Rogue One than in Andor between the.
I didn't watch it all the way through, so
You didn't watch Andor all the or
No,
or
Rogue
the
One.
movie? Okay.
Just recently. I have.
I
so I'd have
did,
to
but
go
like
through
I
it.
watched it all the way through, and I see what you're talking about, and I know a lot of people were.
It's only on the mission at
But
the
it's
very
it's
end.
one of those things like you're watching your death coming your way, and so they have a moment of self reflection, and that's what it is. They're just having they're having their moment of peace, and I don't see it as a romantic moment. It was they're like, we fought to save millions of lives, and that's what it was. And they holding hands. Yeah, they held hands.
I don't know. I just think I kind of just wish the writers wrote Bix. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Storyline a little different.
Okay.
She just seems so like sad and just like a bothersome.
Well, if you've been tortured, you're probably gonna.
I
go
know,
through
but that was just how they set it up, and I didn't care for it. I
She didn't
wanted,
have to be such a downer. Gosh, she's
Yeah,
bringing me
again, you
down.
could have made it more like.
I wanted.
the
Solo.
players you
I
wanted-
wanted
you want a better
more
story.
I
You wanted a
wanted
better
a
story.
stronger character
Depressed
from
They were
her.
people
trying to
make
get
me
her to
sad.
get to
Because
that
she
point, but
was
she
a
couldn't.
stronger character at the beginning
Yeah.
in season 1, and then obviously she went through
She
the
kinda,
mental. Yeah,
Went down. Like
I just wanted more for her.
yeah.
I what more? What do you mean? She goes from this high of like where she was. She crashed like when her boyfriend gets killed. Then she gets tortured. She gets
Her
rescued.
boyfriend gets killed.
Yeah, in season
Yeah,
one.
season 1.
Oh.
Remember
Season
the
one.
miner guy?
Oh yeah.
Like she gets
Look at the
killed
gloves.
like right in front of her.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
It was crazy.
I saw it, man. It was
It was
Oh,
crazy.
fair.
it was nuts.
And then
nuts.
she's still recovering from that at the beginning of season 2. She has her triumphant moment where she's able to conquer her like,
Yes.
thing. And then she has that self-reflection of knowing where she needs to be. And where she was happy in season 2 on that farm planet. That's where she was happy.
yeah.
And she knew Cassian couldn't be with her there. And so she wanted to go where she felt peace. And I was fine with that's where not all heroes need to end up on the battlefield.
I know.
Well, he
That's-
did.
that's
He,
why I
he
was
did end
okay
up on
with
the
it.
battlefield in
I
the
said
crater.
not all.
Okay, so let's
I
do,
just wanted more.
let's do
something
Mickey bars
different.
real quick because we need to wrap this up. Jackie, how many Mickey bars?
I give it like a 2.5.
2.5. That's low.
See, I want to give it 4, but I feel that may be saying
Recency
too
bias?
much because of
There's too many holes.
it's just not as fun
What?
as
Star
a
Wars
New
leading
Hope.
plot holes?
So I'm going to give
Never.
it. I'm going to give it 3.5 because it's not as fun.
Yeah, because you never know if you're just riding the high of like watching Star Wars, and then like a year later you're gonna be like, I gave it a 3 or 4. My goodness, it's Rocketeer level. No way.
Yeah, so I'm going to give it 3.5. It's worth a watch. It definitely fills in the storyline. It's just not as fun as you would hope it would be.
Yeah.
That's why we have a New Hope.
The show left me wanting more. I wanted more of this kind of storytelling. So for that, I am gonna give it a 4.
A 4 for Peter.
Because I think it gave me attachment to this universe, a different attachment than what I had already had. It made me want to be like, oh, I want to know more. I want more stories of the rebellion while it's the rebellion during the original trilogy. I want more of those stories I want to see that.
I agree with you on that. Like, it kind of renews that kind of interest that I had in Star Wars when Disney took over. They really filled in that gap between episode 3 and episode 4,
right,
where they could have play because they weren't going to do much media. And so it does excite that era of Star Wars. I'm going to give it like a 3.25. I can't give it a 3.5, but I can't. Like, I think it's better than a 3. But, again, I binged all the way through. I don't know if I watched it differently, if, like, chunked it out better.
I think you might have enjoyed it if it was chunked out.
Were you prying your eyes open to stay awake? Or?
I did fall asleep once on the first day, but again, I only got like 4 hours of sleep. I got small kids. I gotta work.
I'm not blaming that. I'm just saying sometimes you think you saw it, but you didn't because you were dosing off in between, and it would be a whole different thing if you.
That's why I did notes, because I knew it was all like, all right, the last note I had was this, okay, and so I did scene by scene to keep me engaged for that reason. So I'm like, if I just watched it without writing notes, I don't know how I would have handled it.
Based on your notes, you caught it.
Okay, I got it, guys. Yeah, so 3.25. All right. That really wraps up what our review of Andor. Let us know what you thought of it. Do you want more? Did you watch Rogue One afterwards? Are you interested? Let us know. Hit us up on our social medias and give us your thoughts on Andor too. Should Disney do Rogue 2, where many Banthas died?
Many Banthas.
Many Banthas died. All right. How many Banthas did die to get those secret plans for the second Death Star? I want to know. With that being said, auf Wiedersehen.
Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the Matterhorn Yodelers. Please remember, before your bobsled comes to a complete stop, to follow us on Facebook and Instagram. And remember...
Remain seated, please. Permanecer sentados, por favor.